The station's master clock hit 72 hours. Every frequency band in the chamber went silent. Karev still hadn't moved. What followed those 47 minutes? I still cannot speak of it without pain. Stay close. Across the debris field drifted the last of Siren's composure. The junior analyst's auditory membranes folded inward, a reflex her broodmother had called the silence before the scream. She had not experienced true silence in 47 years. Not once. The Serenthi nervous system processed sound across 19 distinct frequency bands, from subsonic hull vibrations to ultrasonic data streams. Silence was not absence. Silence was damage. A week ago, the hardest decision she'd faced was whether to skip breakfast. Hour 0. The Zelthari Council's ultimatum arrived on schedule. 72 hours to surrender the colony worlds or face administrative dissolution. 12 council species represented. 400 years of galactic order hanging on the vibration of a single transmission. Siren had placed the recording crystal in the archive slot, standard procedure, nothing special. The glass sphere caught the chamber light, 12 centimeters of worthless transparency per Zelthari valuation. She'd logged the timestamp. She'd noted the human acknowledgement. Receipt confirmed. Terran Diplomatic Corps, 1 representative present. Karev. The human stood by the viewport, thermos in hand. Steam rose in thin curls. His collar sat crooked, adjusted twice, then twice more. Nervous, she catalogued. Primitive threat response. Fight or flight freeze in formal diplomatic settings. The Serenthi medical submind had documented this in 47 species. Siren filed the observation, junior-grade thoroughness, eager to prove competence on her first major assignment. Hour 12. No response. The station hummed at 47 hertz. The frequency made her cranial plates vibrate, a constant low-grade massage that kept her neural clusters oxygenated. Then the humans had arrived, and the hum had changed. Not louder, not softer, different. Karev had not spoken since acknowledging receipt. Not one word. His eyes tracked everything. Council members entering. Council members leaving. The master clock incrementing. The steam from his thermos dissipating. Refill, steam again. 12-second delays before answering direct questions. Siren calculated. 0.6 seconds human neural lag between decision and speech, multiplied by 20. He was counting, not hesitating. The realization did not register. She filed it as hesitation. Hour 24. The council debated. Silence equals acceptance? Silence equals refusal? Siren's membranes hemorrhaged slightly, microtears from sustained low-frequency exposure. She requested acoustic dampening. Denied. The diplomatic chamber required full environmental transparency. She watched Karev adjust his collar again. Crooked. Straight. Crooked. The crystal sat in its slot, recording nothing but station hum and the occasional shuffle of Zelthari bureaucratic feet. Hour 36. Technician Mora Ven passed through on maintenance rotation. The Zelthari worker hummed at 47 hertz, unconsciously matching the station's resonant frequency. She'd done so for 200 years. Siren noted it, filed it, forgot it. Junior analysts forgot 90% of sensory input. The 10% they remembered defined their careers, or ended them. Hour 48. The council reached consensus. Silence indicated incapacity. Humans lacked the neural architecture to process complex ultimata. Primitive species, newly uplifted, biologically incapable of threat recognition at institutional scales. Siren's documentation would reflect this. Standard classification. Administrative dissolution proceedings would proceed unopposed. She checked the crystal. Still recording. Still empty. Hour 60. The carrier wave appeared. Faint. Structured. Not words. Static. 47 minutes of encoded signal already transmitting, had been transmitting for 12 hours, hidden beneath the station's own 47 hertz hum. Siren's membranes spasmed. She isolated the frequency. She ran analysis. She ran it again. The results did not change. She did not understand them. She adjusted her collar. A nervous reflex she'd picked up from watching Karev, and realized too late that the gesture meant nothing, that she'd adopted a human stress tell without comprehending it, that she was junior enough to mimic without understanding. The human diplomat took a sip from his thermos. Steam rose. The 12-second delay matched exactly. Hour 72. The master clock hit the mark. 300 Zelthari counselors shifted in their consensus chamber seats. A synchronized rustle of chitinous plates that Siren's auditory system processed as a single percussive wave. Karev took a sip from his thermos. Steam rose. The 12-second delay matched exactly. The static resolved. Not into words, into coordinates. Every Zelthari military installation across 4 sectors. Supply routes, command nodes, communication relays. The 47-minute transmission contained complete tactical vulnerability mapped with precision that required 400 years of institutional knowledge to gather. Humans had done it in 72 hours of silence. Siren's membranes hemorrhaged. Not microtears now. Full vascular rupture, blood pooling in her inner ears, the physical cost of understanding. The silence had not been refusal. It had been preparation. The primitive threat recognition she'd cataloged was actually superior neural processing speed. Karev had been choosing silence as communication. Deliberate, calculated, weighted. Behind the sealed door waited something older than the station itself. She looked at the human. His collar sat straight. Had been straight for hours, she realized. The adjustment behavior stopped at some point she'd missed while drowning in her own auditory pain. The crooked pattern had been verification of concealed recording equipment. Systematic, methodical. The nervous tick was actually confidence so complete it required mechanical confirmation. Your deadline, Karev said. The first words in 3 days. Our schedule. The council understood. The 12 species represented in that chamber understood. 400 years of galactic order had been redefined in 47 minutes of static. Not through weapons, through patience, through the willingness to endure silence that physically damaged an auditory primary observer while preparing a response that rendered all military options obsolete. Siren thought of Technician Mora Ven. The 47 hertz hum. 200 years of unconscious resonance. The frequency that had hidden the human transmission in plain sound, that had made the static bearable only because Mora's maintenance rounds had provided a familiar harmonic anchor. The individual detail collapsed the vast scale into something her neural clusters could process. Aisha was 7 and liked drawing animals with chalk. No. Mora hummed at 47 hertz for 200 years and never knew she was singing accompaniment to the end of an empire. Came the order no one expected. The Zelthari High Arbitrator dissolved the session. Administrative dissolution proceedings were themselves dissolved. Consensus could not form around a species that processed institutional weight as a 0.6-second calculation. Karev stood. He did not smile. He knew exactly what he was, what humans were, and he carried that weight without performance. The recording crystal waited in its slot. Siren filed her report. Standard classification no longer applied. The junior analyst who had mistaken counting for hesitation, who had adopted a stress tell without comprehension, who had hemorrhaged while witnessing efficiency her species could not match. Her career had ended and begun simultaneously. Archive duty would have been mercy. Instead, she carried documentation of the moment one species taught 12 others that power was not volume. Power was silence sustained longer than opponents could endure. She removed the crystal from the archive slot. 12 centimeters of glass. Worthless per Zelthari valuation. Priceless per Serenthi experience. She had not played the 47 minutes since. Her membranes would not survive it. The crystal sat on her quarter's shelf, catching light, containing proof that humans chose words deliberately while other species vocalized instinctively, containing the end of her ignorance, containing the weight of knowing that the species she had classified as primitive had actually been operating on information processing scales that made her 19 frequency bands seem like a single narrow note. The crystal sat on the shelf. The light caught it. The 47 minutes remained unplayed.